Hey there, how's it going everybody? So in this video, we're going to continue with our tutorial here and build an automation to automatically create a renewal opportunity that will be triggered whenever an opportunity is marked as closed won. So the simple flow we're going to take is following these 4 steps. It's just going to have 4 elements. The first one is going to be the trigger or the start element. Then we're going to have a create records element that is going to generate the renewal opportunity. Then we are going to link the original opportunity to the renewal that was just created. So let's go ahead and get started. So if you look in the Notion Wiki ebook here, we have a link to the actual flow that we're going to be created. And you can click into each of these elements here to see the specifics of what to actually do. So let's start with the start element, but first let's actually go and create the flow. So let's go to flows, and we're going to click new flow from scratch. And it's going to be a record triggered flow. And the start object is going to be the opportunity. And we want it to be triggered when a record is updated to meet the following conditions. So the condition that we're setting up is for when the opportunity is marked as closed won. And we want it to run every time a record is updated to meet these conditions. That way it only runs once. So that's all you have to do for the trigger. Very simple. Now let's go to the create records element. So we need to make a new element here. So you can click this little plus sign, type create records, and we're just going to follow the steps here. So we'll call it create renewal opportunity, and it is going to be created manually on the op. And then you'll see that we have a bunch of fields here that we have to create. So these can get pretty detailed. You'll see that this is a combination of referring to the original opportunity that triggered this, and some of the values here are being set from formula resources that we will create. And if you want to see in detail, I've included the specific variable names and references that you can use to reference these fields. So we're actually going to start with account ID so this is setting the new value of the account ID for the renewal. And we want it to be the same as the account ID for the triggering opportunity. So to do this, you can just refer to the original triggering record using exclamation point $record.account ID. That's just referring to the triggering opportunity's account ID. So you'll see that reappear a few times throughout this. Then we're going to do amount, and we want amount set equal to the triggering opportunity's ARR because we're just going to create the renewal to be an annual contract. And because I'm working out of a Scratch org, I have to add a namespace prefix to this. That's not going to be relevant to you. You can just copy and paste whatever you see here in the callout in Notion. So now we'll go ahead and create a close date field. And this is where you see the first formula that we're going to have to create. So it's called, it's going to be a date formula. So what you do is you click into new resource here, and we're going to call it a formula. It's going to be of type date. API name 1 day after contract end date. We're basically just setting the close date for this renewal record to be 1 day after the contract end date. And the point of this is just to ensure that it's set to close exactly when the next opportunity is going to start. You can change this if you want the close date to happen a bit earlier than the contract start date, but for simplicity, we're just going to keep them the same. So now we're going to make the contract start date, and it's going to reference the same formula there. So again, the contract start date, you want the renewal contract to start 1 day after the contract end date of the previous. Now let's go and create contract term. So this is going to be the first hard-coded value here. And because we're just creating the renewal to be an annualized contract, we're going to set it to 12 months. Now let's set up the name field for the renewal. So this is just going to be a new formula. It's going to be a text formula. And we'll call this renewal name. And in the formula, we're going to refer to the account name of the triggering opportunity and just add a dash renewal to the end of that. Now let's go ahead and add the next one, which is going to be record type ID. So to get record type, you actually have to go to Object Manager. You have to go to the opportunity record type, and you can go to the specific record type and get the hard-coded ID value from the URL. So that's how you get the record type value. Then we need to set the lookup field, so that's renewal of, and we're actually just going to set this equal to the triggering opportunity. So that's the opportunity ID. Oh, sorry, that's wrong. It's going to be the triggering opportunities opportunity ID, which is just record ID, record.id. Lastly, let's set up the stage name. So this is just going to be the first stage for renewals, which is needs analysis, another hard-coded value. So this section's done. So now let's go back and set the update records element. So for this, we're just going to simply link the original opportunity to the record that we just created. And all we have to do is update that record's renewal, renewed by field to the opportunity ID from create renewal opportunity, which is this variable reference here. So now we're basically done. You can see that this matches the flow that we just created. So we can save it, call it closed one opportunity. Let's activate it. And let's see if it works. So if we go to this opportunity here, let's see what happens when we mark it as closed one. Okay, so it looks like a renewal record was created that's linked to the original. All the fields are populated. The close date, contract start date are exactly 1 day after the original contract end date. The renewal is set to be an annual value. And as this gets closer to close, you can adjust the contract fields as the negotiation progresses with that client. So this is how you would set up a simple renewal automation in Salesforce. All we're doing is just creating a 4-step flow, and it's very simple. This just ensures that every time an op is closed one, you have an associated renewal record, and then you can then create proper list views to prepare you for when those contracts are coming up for renewal. So that's all I wanted to share with you. In the next video, I'll show you how to actually make this list view report, which is very simple, and then we'll continue into the further chapters. So that's all I got. Thank you.